Hello and welcome to another Star Citizen roadmap update. Hang on, didn't we do one of these yesterday? Yes, but we have more updates now. Cloud Imperium have added the majority of the Q2 2023 schedule for the downstream teams there to the Star Citizen roadmap tracker. We have also seen some scheduling tweaks and, well, there are some other features that we didn't talk about yesterday on the roadmap either because we missed them or they've been updated now or they've updated the timeframes. So we're going to talk about more of these features that have sprints and work being completed throughout 2023. Please bear in mind that even though the roadmap might show something as complete or work coming to an end, it doesn't mean that it's ready to be integrated into a patch into our hands. Some features need more work, some will get merged in the Squadron 42 branch for testing, some, yeah, they're going to turn up this year for sure. The latest roadmap update added 2 new sets of faction outfits and 3 new mission sets, which we will all cover in a minute. Let's go over some more of the details and information of that roadmap change and some updates and some other features that are turning up in a more chronological order of when they are having their feature sprints completed. So in April, we've got map and radar system rework being completed, at least the current set of work on it, an overhaul of the underlaying system and associated UI for the star map, radar, local area map, and minimap. Really important. We've needed updates to that star map. Minimaps are a fantastic idea, better ways of navigating in Star Citizen. I suspect this is sort of things that we're going to see implemented in-game or actually have a demo of for like CitizenCon later in the year. It's possible there might be some minor updates in some patches before that. We'll have to wait and see. FPS devices Tier 1. While throwable and consumable devices already exist within Star Citizen as grenades and medbends, further work on the system will enable us to more easily create new items with different effects when used. This includes the development of deployable devices or items that can be carried around as part of a player loadout, equipped and deployed onto a surface. We think there's going to be things like deployable shields, there's going to be sort of haywire hologrammy things that sort of trick people into thinking that someone's there, target and scanner spoofers, and a load more. There's also the new player experience, which we know is turning up in 3.19, an initiative for improving the initial first 30 minutes of gameplay experience, which will help players understand the context of the world and introduce them to some of Star Citizen's basic features. This will include updates to landing zones, spaceports, Habs, shops, and more. Moving on to May, work on persistent Habs has been brought forward from its previous September completion, although it might need some more work. It's now looks like it's going to finish its sprint in May. So this is work that grants players the ability to have their own persistent Habs. This makes it look more likely to me that they're trying to push persistent Habs into the game as early as possible, potentially something we're going to see later this year. June. Physical damage and breakability, making use of the physics engine to create a system that looks and behaves realistically when large objects such as ships are damaged by weaponry or colliding with other ships, locations, or planets. You want ships to look awesome when they explode or break or smash into each other or hit the ground? Well, then this is what you want. Also, physics, rope simulation, extending the simulation algorithm of ropes to support ropes interacting with pulleys and improve general stability to enable the development of new gameplay mechanics. Ropes, pulleys, some cool stuff that you can do with that. I like the idea that it's going to be sort of combined with gameplay, so maybe you'll be able to lift up bridges or lift up cloth or hide things, that sort of stuff, and maybe set traps. New missions. So there is a set of new missions that currently have their sprints completing in June. So we've got Mining Resource Rush. Various large clusters of asteroids around Stanton are being sold off by several organizations for a fee. Civilians are given access to these spatial mining claims and allowed to mine until the cluster is depleted, drawing many miners, crews, and occasionally pirates to these hotspots. So this is basically a sideways jump from the salvage claim missions that they're putting in 3.19. Just making those missions available for mining in the same way. You're going to be able to have sort of enemies there. You're going to have outlaw versions of this mission where you've got to try and mine before other people turn up, stuff like that. But be careful who you blow up there because their friends might come a-looking. There's also Package Extraction, a new multiplayer mission where players will work together to recover stolen prototype ship components. Crusader security tasks players with extracting these highly classified components from the Ninetales transport ships before they can escape off-world. That sounds absolutely awesome. We know this is an evolution of some of the platform missions at Orison that they've been working on and is going to be quite hectic. And I suppose multiplayer is the wrong term for these things. Everything's multiplayer in Star Citizen. It is an MMO is the idea. However, this is more co-op focused, if you see what I mean. It's not something you want to do typically solo. But yeah, really interested in that. That's obviously going to be something similar or akin to Siege of Orison, as far as I'm aware, but maybe on just a single platform or a couple of platforms. Another set of new missions. Data download. These missions task players with infiltrating ships defended by hostile NPCs to hack terminals with both lawful and unlawful mission types. So obviously combining hacking into the fold there, but also maybe a bit of sort of data as cargo gameplay might be sort of hinted at for the future beyond this. We've also got some of these outfits that Cloud Imperium have been working on for June. The Duster faction outfits, Headhunter faction outfits, and Rough and Ready faction outfits, all for, well, the Headhunters and Rough and Ready faction are part of Pyro Gang stuff, and the Duster faction are for Stanton. Fire hazards. The fire hazard system will track fire and temperature on static and dynamic objects. For the initial release of fire, the feature will be set up on a few select vehicles. So this is planned for June, at least the current sprint coming to an end, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be part of the damage control system. It's going to be part of environmental sort of hazards fire. I think it will really improve a lot of the game and some of the interesting sort of puzzles and traversal sort of mechanics that we have. Frontier clothing, generating concepts for frontier clothing for players and NPCs. Gen 12 renderer tier 1, new rendering architecture to improve performance. This milestone renders every scene object through the new renderer with optimizations and additional features such as Vulkan coming in the future. Now we have a lot of the Gen 12 renderer stuff already integrated, and obviously they are still trying to polish bits off to get it in a better state. So I'm expecting Vulkan to potentially come in as part of the 3.19 branch or 3.20 later this year. They're building a Greycat industrial salvage tool that's a standalone salvage tool, so expect something that's like two-hand or more powerful than the multi-tool. Hacking tier 0, obviously, they've got those missions that require hacking, but there's hacking tier 0 here as well, planned also for June. All back-end tech tasks related to creating the first pass of the hacking feature, they'll be used in future locations and missions. When implemented in the game, this feature will be used to access systems and areas that have previously been closed to the player. The hacking process will be represented via a minigame that is displayed on the player's HUD visor. So I'm expecting something like a pipe puzzle. You're going to be using hacking to open certain doors as part of certain missions, to hack down your criminal ratings, stuff like that. Moving on to July, we've got a Mobiglass rework, so reworking the Mobiglass system to use building blocks, which will also allow for easier deployment of Mobiglass apps. So obviously they want that Mobiglass to look awesome. They want all the apps to be great. They want to integrate it with like the new Star Map and all this sort of jazz. It is essential to playing Star Citizen, that Mobi app, because it basically is your diary and personal organizer and your accounts and your admin and all that sort of jazz that you will need to be able to help navigate through the game. There's also the player interaction experience tier 2, visor, HUD and helmets, builds on existing heads-up displays with a new look and feel, includes a new equip and remove experience, boot up and power down sequences, and transitions between FPS and ship HUDs. Cool, something that's going to make the game just feel a lot better and look a bit better as well, and sort of help with the flow. August, Mission Manager app. Alongside converting to building blocks, this feature includes an updated UI in support of the dynamic mission system, also includes the ability for players to see the reputational requirements of mission content. So that's a nice little tweak there. Obviously they're going to want to rebuild those apps for the Mobiglass after they convert it to building blocks and sort of make it look better. Moving on to September now, which is really as far out as we can see at the moment for completed work for the most part. Pyro system, planet, and mission setup, completing the initial foundational work needed to implement the Pyro system into the game. Now, that sprint is planned to finish in September now. That's a good indicator that we could potentially see, if we are lucky, at least on the PTU or Evocati builds, Pyro by the end of the year. We do know that Cloud Imperium are pushing Pyro over server meshing, if they two can't come at the same time, or maybe you'll have like server meshing light for it, but Pyro does seem to be the priority at the very least. So potentially for the end of the year, I hope that that's the case. Freight elevators, implementation of systems and content for players to physically load and unload cargo to and from their ships by conveying cargo to and from hangars, landing pads, garages, and docking collars. So this is sort of expansions to the cargo gameplay mechanic and that refactor, and sort of the economy of the game, and getting these big ships, sort of times associated with loading and unloading them, all that sort of jazz. Refinery ships. Certain ships will have refineries built onto them, allowing players to process ore using a completely onboard process. That's going to be awesome for things like the Starfarer, giving it a load of new functionality, and being super important for like the pyro system, where you're going to want it to gather fuel, sort of produce fuel, and then go around and give that to players that need it. Nom nom nom. Salvage vehicle munching, implementing the ability to transform large chunks of metal salvaged from ships into refinable materials. This will use the grinder systems aboard the salvage ships like the Vulture, and on a much larger scale on the Reclaimer. Nom nom nom. Again, that's now planned for September, or at least the sprint coming to an end. So I'm really excited about all those features, for sure. Some of them, I do think, actually quite a few of them we will see later this year in various patches, be they 3.19, 3.20, potentially 4.0. Also seeing them during like CitizenCon, stuff like that. If you want to see some more features that are planned for completion throughout this year, or at least showing up until September, then please check out the other roadmap update, which I will link down below, which go over some other bits and bobs in a bit more detail. But I'm really interested to know what you think. Do you think we'll see things like Pyro by the end of the year, even if it's just like in Evocati? Do you expect 3.19 to have things like potential Vulcan integration, or maybe later into like 3.20? And are you excited for like the hacking mechanics and those new mission sets, like the mining contracts and package extraction, data download? Are you really excited for the idea that maybe this year we'll see a map and radar rework actually in our hands? Maybe mini-maps, being able to navigate throughout the game, although I don't think a mini-map would come in this year. I think that's a bit more complicated, but I don't know. Maybe they're really far on it. Are you excited for persistent Habs and the potential for customization and living not at a major landing zone? Although maybe the first iteration is just customization of the Habs we already have in-game. As soon as we have that physical damage and breakability feature, I'm ramming things and blowing up ships in all new ways for sure. But whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Little Nord Riding Hood was on her way to Grandma's house. Upon arriving at her house, she called, "Grandma, are you home?" "Yes, dear. I'm on my laptop in bed." Upon seeing her grandma, she exclaimed, "Oh, Grandma, what long fingers you have." "Oh, the better to browse the internet, my dear." "Oh, Grandma, what powerful VPN protection you have." "Oh, the better to browse safely, my dear." "Oh, Grandma, what big eyes you have." "Oh, the better to enjoy my greater access to the sites I want to visit, my dear." "But seriously, get NordVPN or I will eat you." The moral of this story is that there are some great deals on NordVPN, and using it can improve your internet privacy, safety, and give you more access to the content you want to see. Get it from the links below. Every month we have a ship giveaway for April 2023. It's for a Drake Vulture, the light salvage ship. This will enable you to take to the stars, find wrecks and strip them, as well as craft some useful items with its onboard dispensary. It comes with lifetime insurance and a Star Citizen game package as well. All you need to get into the game, and all you have to do to be in for a chance of winning that, is comment on any of my videos made during April. Also, please bear in mind that there are scammers about in YouTube. If you see in the comments below someone trying to get you to go onto Telegram, or someone not using my main account, which is the account I'm making videos on now, then they are a scammer pretending to be me or someone else, and just be safe on YouTube's. If you would like to further support the channel, please consider subscribing. You can become a Patreon, you can use the YouTube join button as well. That goes an extra mile to help support us and enables us to produce Star Citizen content every day. And that's down to you guys helping support us, so genuinely, thank you from the bottom of my little BoredGamer heart.